Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Oh, man. It's just starting to get dark. I am not used to it getting dark this darn early. Give me the longer days. So, anyway, we're going to talk about 3I Atlas because it's now doing all kinds of strange things. Now it went from being green, and I remember showing you when it was green in the sky. It is now blue, and it has accelerated, it has gotten brighter. So they're reporting all this stuff, the changes that it's making. And at one point, it was above the sun instead of behind the sun. I mean, and there are still some saying it's a comet. There's no way. Usually they are saying when a comet gets by the sun, it will turn red just from getting heated up by the sun. This 3I Atlas never turned red at all. It has turned blue. Thank you, Eagle Champion, for the super sticker and support for my channel. And, so it's still not doing things that a comet would do. And it's baffling. You can see the fear. They don't know what's gonna happen. It's just like in the beginning when I was telling you, they claim it was gonna go behind the sun, then go past Jupiter and leave our solar system. Now they're saying it's staying. It may never leave our solar system. In fact, they think reinforcements are coming. I was listening to a video this morning, and they said they believe it's signaling more ships to come. So who knows what's going to happen? Being that no one has ever seen this occur before, everybody's just speculating. Yeah, it said it got very bright and blue, which tells me, Chocolate Spirit 79, that it probably got stronger being around the sun. Yeah, energy, it probably almost like getting gassed up at the gas station, and having that full tank of gas. So whatever it did, it seems to have made it stronger. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can listen to these videos. And, no matter what happens, some of them, some of the people are out here saying, be prepared. How do you prepare for something like this? I don't even know if that's possible. I think you just got to be ready and make yourself ready for anything to come. I mean, yeah, well, it's getting a hell of a charge from the sun. That's all I got to say in order for it to get brighter. All right, let me share my screen. There we go. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
Three Eye Atlas just shifted its orbit against gravity, raising serious concerns among scientists.
Before the noise of its discovery reached Earth, 3I Atlas had already rewritten a law of nature. Spectra showed nickel where there should be dust, metal where there should be ice, a Manhattan-sized visitor bleeding a human alloy in a place where industry does not exist. It wasn't arrival that unsettled scientists. It was recognition. Something out there was doing metallurgy in the dark, a city in the dark between worlds, in the deep, airless quiet between Mars and the sun. Something the size of Manhattan is shedding metal. Astronomers first logged it as a fast mover, an interstellar object slicing into our system on a cold, efficient trajectory. They named it 3I Atlas. Third, known interstellar visitor, unbound to the sun, not born here, not shaped here, not ours. It should have behaved like a comet. That was the expectation. That is always the expectation. A frozen body gets close to heat, ices flash to vapor, pressure builds, and the thing starts bleeding out in a curved, glowing tail that stretches away from the sun like a banner. We've watched that performance all our lives. No one questioned the script. In late July, the Hubble Space Telescope tracked it and produced an image that made observers uncomfortable for reasons they could not immediately describe. There was no gorgeous sweeping tail being blown backward by solar radiation, no long white veil curling into space. Instead, there was a concentrated jet, a hard stream of expelled mass, firing in exactly the wrong direction. Rather than peeling away from the sun, the flow of material was aimed toward it. That jet wasn't light and pretty. It was dense. According to the reported analysis, it carried roughly 330 pounds of material every second. Carbon dioxide, water, trace cyanide, nickel, no iron. It wasn't drifting behind 3I Atlas like a bridal train. It was almost like thrust. It was pointed. When the Keck 2 telescope in Hawaii got time on 3I Atlas in August, the data came back with something nobody had language ready for. Spectral work suggested that 3I Atlas was giving off nickel at about 4 grams per second. But again, no sign of iron riding with it. That ratio is wrong. In every normal comet ever studied, including the 2 known before 3I Atlas that came from outside the solar system, nickel and iron show up together in broadly comparable amounts. They are partners. They condense out of the same primordial furnaces. You do not get one without the other. This is where Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb stepped forward and said the quiet part out loud. He told the New York Post that the plume coming off 3I Atlas appears consistent with nickel tetracarbonyl, a highly specific nickel carbonyl compound that humans only ever see in industrial metal processing, including aerospace surface hardening. He didn't hedge. This was never observed for any other object, he said. This compound does not come from natural comet behavior, not from any comet on record. The alloy that shouldn't exist out here, nickel tetracarbonyl, should not be coming out of a comet. On Earth, this compound shows up in controlled conditions, high pressure, carbon monoxide-rich environments where nickel binds with carbon and oxygen in a way that lets it be transported, deposited, used to plate or reinforce metal surfaces. It is toxic, volatile, engineered, and useful. It's part of how you make metal behave better under stress. Aerospace uses it because aerospace is unforgiving. Keck 2 reported the plume from 3I Atlas as containing nickel flow at about 4 grams per second. Steady, not a one-time spike. There was no matching signature for iron in that same outgassing. That absence is louder than it sounds. In comet physics, you don't forget iron. Nickel and iron are forged together in stellar cores and supernova ejecta. They condense into primitive rock and ice. They sit in deep time beside each other. Even in the 2 previous interstellar visitors, objects that, like 3I Atlas, were not born here, nickel and iron both rode out in the vapor as they heated. Comparable levels, natural siblings. 3I Atlas breaks that rule. To lose iron and keep nickel violently and cleanly, you need selectivity. You need a filter. You need process. That is why Loeb said what he said. He basically accused 3I Atlas of being manufactured without using the word manufactured.
Holy crap, guys. We need to talk. Welcome back to Conspiracy Ninja. Another off-the-grid quick check-in on 3I Atlas. Please excuse the lack of editing on this one. I normally like to do some overlays and some sounds, and these are part of what I'm calling the off-the-grid series, which is meant to be a little more stripped down. All of these are unscripted. I want to make sure to talk about it as quickly as I can and get it out to y'all. I wanted to just share what I saw late last night and early this morning. 3I Atlas. Holy shit, this might be legit. So let's get to the point. Here's the update. I said in the last video video, the color was rapidly glowing brighter and brighter and bluer. Two other things that I didn't mention that just weren't available information at the time. It seems like this information trickled out kind of staggered. It's not just that it's getting brighter, and it's not just that it's getting bluer, it's also accelerating, and it has an increased magnetic field. I was gonna say, I don't know how they would detect that, but I'm sure the telescopes have an ability to detect magnetic fields. So magnetic nature of this object, craft, comet, is increasing, and it's accelerating, and it's being termed as a non-gravitational acceleration, as in it is not necessarily the sun's gravity, that slingshot technique that NASA and other ones practice, if space is real. It's accelerating. In essence, they're saying it is also being propelled by something else. So, holy hell. I mean, here's where I stand on this. I want to believe, man. Call me conspiracy Fox Mulder Ninja, because I want to believe. But I just want to put it out there. There's a couple obvious natural explanations for this. It was right up against the sun, and that mother is hot and has all types of magnetic forces coming out of it. The solar flares and all that, that's like big magnetic fields coming out of the sun and just launching solar material into space, technically. Theoretically speaking, without being an astrophysicist myself, I can probably logically deduce that if 3i Atlas is hugging the sun that close, the magnetic forces from the sun could very easily have impacted 3i Atlas. Secondly, if it's a comet and it's mostly made of metal, but there are some porous spots in it, being that close to the sun is going to heat it up tremendously. Think about those teapots that whistle when the water's boiling. The reason it whistles is obviously because that heat is creating a bunch of pressure, and the pressure is forcing all of the steam through a specific region with a whistle in it to make a whistle sound. If you had that same teapot in space, when it boiled, the part that's whistling is going to propel it forward. When a force gets pushed out the back of something, it's going to propel it forward. So by being so close to the sun, it could be explained. So I want to just put that out there first. However, and to me, this is a huge however, the odds, in my opinion, again, it's just my opinion, the odds are astronomical that this thing hit the solar system at the trajectory it did, just so happened to hug the sun at the exact place that it did, just so happened to turn around the sun as it passed, and just so happened to be it got heated up enough, and all of the spots where the gas would have been expelled from this comet just happened to be behind it, so that when it hugged the sun's gravity, it got heated up just the right amount to have those motherfuckers launch gas out the ass end and shoot this thing off. I just can't, it's hard for me to not think there's something else to this. So I just wanted to provide that update. And with that update, there's a couple quick things that go along with that. One, it feels like my theory that I proposed in the last video, if you didn't see it, I'll try and link that in the description below, could be more plausible now because it literally used the sun as a way to propel it. Shout out to some of the smartest viewers of Conspiracy Ninja. You guys are really, too much. This is the genius, smart person, other smart person, other smart person. Shout out to everyone that agreed with my theory and thought it was great. I thought it was pretty good too. Yeah, just saying. However, I also want to shout out a lot of the viewers that provided a twist to my theory and their own theories, because there was quite a few ones that I was like, yo, this makes so much sense. Like this one here, talking about what if it is just us from the future? That's very possible. I love thinking about that kind of stuff. What if it's time travel? There's too many possibilities. You can't know enough to rule out any of these with any significant confidence, right? Or this one, which I really love. There's a couple others that were in line with this person's theory that suggested, what if this is like ancient earthlings from the past who left Earth to explore the solar system and then are coming back to kind of see what's become of Earth? Boy, I love that one for so many reasons. The main one is I'm a big believer in advanced ancient civilizations, and this falls right in line with that. In this comment, they also reference the mud floods. Another thing has been blowing my mind and I really want to cover soon, which I'm only just learning about in the last few months. Shout out to y'all for having some amazing theories. I love the whole idea that this could be Earth from the past. There was a mass exodus or a breakaway civilization because of some sort of disaster. The first thing that comes to mind is Atlantis, maybe? Atlantis was supposed to be this super advanced civilization that was significantly more advanced than a lot of the other ones on Earth at that time. If that's true, maybe whenever Atlantis went down, they left. Maybe they're coming back now. And I had a funny thought yesterday, like maybe they came back to be like, yo, let's see what's become of Earth. Let's see what's going on here. Maybe we should stop back in and say what up, see how everyone's doing, check in, see if there is anybody, and if there is, like, are they cool? And then they got close enough, they sent out some probes, they like monitored our news feeds, and we're like, nah, we're good. I think we're chilling on this ship. You guys, y'all good to keep going? I think let's just use the sun and get the fuck out of here, huh? This shit is a mess. Thank God we left when we did. We're just gonna use your sun real quick if you don't mind, and we're just gonna we gonna dip. Good luck, you know? We're rooting for you. Or as Shane Gillis would say, we wish him well. So anyway, that was just a quick update. I'm gonna continue working on those other videos I told you about. Let me know what you think. Is this acceleration and color change and increased magnetism all naturally explained? Or do you think that combined with all of the other factors we've discussed over the last few videos is getting to the point where like you can only account for so many coincidences before it starts becoming kind of obvious there's something more to this? The past us or future us, people from another civilization, another solar system, I'm concerned if they got to us and they were like, nah, we good, y'all can have that planet, we're gonna just check out the next one. If that's the case, like we might never find out, because I don't think NASA, the government, or whoever else is gonna tell us shit. It's always gonna be just a rock, and that's that. And I just, one last little thing I promise before I go. Even if it is just a rock, which I saw someone put in the comments, and I don't disagree with you and I'm not saying you're wrong, but even if it is just a rock, all of this other discussion has overshadowed how cool that would be. It's the third interstellar object to ever visit our solar system that we are aware of. I stress that because whenever we all say as a civilization, this has never happened before, it's like in recorded history. Can we just add it's never happened as far as we're aware in recorded history? That caveat I think is necessary. It's still a fascinating scientific thing. Like the fact that it is or could be a natural object, it's traveling as fast as it is, hit us at the way it did, and all the things about it that are so weird, it's still cool as hell, in my opinion. All right, leave your comments below. Let me know, do you think these theories that I shared are possible? Do you think this new update of it accelerating beyond gravitational forces is explainable naturally? I really want to know what y'all think. As you know, I answer every comment that I can, so let me know what you think, and I'll see y'all in the comments section. All right, I'm out. Thank you for watching Conspiracy Ninja. As always, stay safe, stay grounded, like, follow, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.
So let me get this straight. The Nephilim are coming back and the days are getting shorter. Buckle up, you guys. This just got biblical. Just when we thought the craze of Comet 3I Atlas was over, things just got more real. Scientific media is actually openly admitting that 3I Atlas is most likely an alien craft. Going as far as to say 3I Atlas has exhibited confirmed non-gravitational acceleration, an anomaly suggesting that forces other than gravity are acting upon it. Not just that, but it's been officially predicted that December 19th is going to be the time where 3I Atlas comes closer to the Earth than it ever has before. As a Christian truther, I've known that aliens are real for years. I believe that these aliens are Nephilim entities. So the fact that science is talking about this so frequently now, and it's been trending for months, concerns me. Matthew 24 says that the return of the days of Noah would happen in the last days. But in case the return of the Nephilim wasn't enough for you, scientific media has also said that our days are now getting shorter and that time is speeding up. And by the way, Matthew 24 says this as well. From my perspective, this is a really exciting time to be alive. But what do you guys think? Is this all just a coincidence, or are we really getting closer to end times? Let me know your thoughts.
3I Atlas isn't behaving like any comet or asteroid we've ever seen. It's not simply weird. It's impossible.
On a calm September night, astronomers watched as 3I Atlas, once thought to be just another interstellar comet, did something no natural object should ever do. It changed direction, deliberately. Then it pulsed at prime number intervals. Michio Kaku went on air and said it plainly, nature doesn't navigate.
If a comet were to hit the Earth, watch out. It would be a planet buster. It would be an object sufficient to wipe out all life as we know it on the planet.
Now Atlas is hovering just beyond Mars, in perfect balance, after executing maneuvers only spacecrafts perform. If this isn't a comet, what exactly is it? The turn that shook Kaku. In September 2020, 3 observatories, Mauna Kea in Hawaii, La Silla in Chile, and the South African Astronomical Observatory detected something strange. 3I Atlas, originally discovered in March 2024 and confirmed as interstellar due to its hyperbolic trajectory, was not behaving like any known comet. It had been following a predictable path through the solar system, just as expected for an object entering from deep space. But then, it changed direction. Not because of gravity, not because of random jets of gas. It moved in a clean, calculated shift mid-trajectory. The movement wasn't chaotic like most comet behavior. It was smooth, and then it repeated, once, then again, at precise intervals. Every 17 minutes, Atlas pulsed forward, A short, sharp burst of acceleration, not violent, not random, just enough to change its orientation and nudge it closer to the orbital plane of the planets. This wasn't just strange. It was surgical. Within hours, simulations began failing. Modeling teams from Harvard, Caltech, and the European Space Agency watched their predictions break apart. The data refused to stabilize. Each new motion made the previous trajectory obsolete. The object was adjusting, just like a spacecraft would. That was when Michio Kaku stepped in. He appeared on television with a calm, measured tone, but the words were unforgettable. "We should not expect flying saucers," he said. "We should expect the unexpected, a change in orbit, a sudden correction, a signal that something is obeying logic, not nature." And that's exactly what scientists were seeing. Atlas wasn't rolling or fragmenting like a comet approaching the sun. Its orientation stabilized, its spin slowed, and the timing of each burst was too perfect to ignore. Observers in Hawaii, Chile, and South Africa all confirmed the same thing. These were not outgassing events. They were deliberate thrusts. The intervals between them were mathematical, consistent. Orbital dynamics experts quickly recognized the maneuver. It was called orbital trimming. It's something spacecraft do when preparing for a gravity assist or a precise flyby, not something comets are supposed to know. More observatories scrambled to catch up. High-frequency tracking began. Thermal scans, light curve analyses, deep radar sweeps, anything to make sense of the pattern. And still, the object moved with intent. No random veering, no crumbling tail. Instead, Atlas was refining its path, zeroing in on a stable, predictable course, closer and closer to the planetary plane. For anyone studying orbital mechanics, the message was loud and clear. If this was a natural object, then our understanding of physics was broken. But if it wasn't, then 3I Atlas wasn't just passing through, it was driving. Prime number signals. A Chilean observatory team, analyzing James Webb infrared data, noticed something unprecedented. 3I Atlas's emissions weren't random, they pulsed, at perfect intervals, 131 seconds. Then 173. At first they thought it might be sensor error, maybe a calibration bug, but the same pattern appeared again, and again, in readings from ground-based observatories, in logs from South African and Spanish astronomers using private infrared arrays. Even amateur setups picked up the same rhythm. Different tools, same pulse, room for error disappeared. SETI protocols are clear. A signal must meet 5 criteria before it can be considered non-random. Narrow bandwidth, a source beyond Earth, repeatability, structure, and persistence. Atlas's emissions began ticking through that list one by one. The prime number pattern wasn't just a curiosity, it was a warning bell. Prime numbers, numbers that are only divisible by themselves and one, don't occur naturally in timed sequences. They lack rhythm. They don't show up in explosions or radiation decay or comet outgassing, which is exactly why they're used to flag intelligence.
Now, until recently, we haven't seen dust being pushed back behind the object by the solar radiation pressure.
They're intentional. In 1974, the Arecibo message used a prime sequence to introduce Earth's first radio transmission aimed at extraterrestrial listeners. It was the simplest way to say, someone made this. And now an object in our solar system was responding with the same idea. Michio Kaku spoke plainly.
So I'm making a video because I was on TikTok and I saw one of the channels that I like. Her name's Ashley. She's got a great channel. She was talking about, as well as others are talking about, how in Israel the Jews are regarding Donald Trump as Messiah. Than ever.
The news yesterday was that this object came closest to the sun. And it received a huge amount of heat from the sun. And the latest report indicates that it became extremely bright, much more than expected for familiar comets.
What does that tell you?
Well, that is not the most unusual fact. It actually is bluer than the sun. And a blue color usually indicates very high temperatures.
Something does not pass the smell test. Something definitely smells like a dirty night. But before we go ahead and believe the script that's playing out in front front of us, who was the individual that started all this? Who was the individual that led people to believe that the Three-Eye Atlas was a UFO? And that individual, his name is Avi Loeb, but his first name isn't Avi, it's actually Abraham, and that's going to be pretty important for something I have to show. Avi is just a nickname, and it was this same individual, Abraham Loeb, with his team, that decided that the Three-Eye Atlas weighs 33 billion tons. But not just that, this same team also decided that it had a mass loss rate of around 300 pounds per second. So definitely some interesting numerology there. But if you search up Abraham Loeb or Avi Loeb, you get that he's an Israeli and American theoretical physicist who works on astrophysics and cosmology. He's also a professor of science at Harvard University. So just some basic stuff. It's not going to show you everything he's connected to by just searching his name. But if you were to search Abraham Loeb World Economic Forum, that's where things get a little bit more interesting. Well, would you look at that? He is an agenda contributor for the World Economic Forum. I bet he is. I bet he is. So the man who has people believing that the Three-Eye Atlas is a UFO with aliens on board, and again, the interesting numerology, is an agenda contributor with the World Economic Forum. And well, what agenda does the World Economic Forum, including the United Nations, currently have? They have the 2030 Agenda, the Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, multiple policies for all these countries around the world to follow. A one world government. And how would you get all these countries around the world to follow one law, one policy?
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
So all these people out here pushing out videos talking about how the Three-Eye Atlas is a UFO and it's doing all these weird things, making other people believe that it's a UFO, well, unbeknownst to them, or maybe they know, that they're actually, at the end of the day, pushing along the World Economic Forum agenda. Then you'll have some people say, well, you can take a telescope and you can see it. It doesn't look like a normal comet. It looks like some kind of ship. But we don't know what's truly up there or what was put up there. Does anybody remember those news articles that came out about Earth supposedly having a second moon? And news and media told us that it was exactly 33 feet long. That's how I knew something was suspicious then. I mean, come on. Come on. The Earth's second moon is 33 feet and the Three-Eye Atlas is 33 billion tons. What are the odds? And I even said when I made a video on it back then that it's possibly some kind of projector to produce images. Again, we truly don't know, but what I do know is when all roads lead to the World Economic Forum, lies will unfold, agendas will unfold. I do not trust NASA one bit, but I especially do not trust the World Economic Forum, even more so given the fact that the new leadership is worse than the old leadership, run by the water man that wants to control all the water, and the BlackRock man that wants to have a cashless society and have everything be digital. So, no, I don't trust anything that comes out of there. And when we talk about Project Bluebeam, this false stage alien invasion, a lot of people believe that when you talk about Project Bluebeam, you believe that these entities are not real, these creatures are not real, and that wouldn't be the case whatsoever. What something like Project Bluebeam exposes is the lie that these things come from space, they come from another planet, when that's not the case whatsoever. The things that will be used on humanity are things that have already been here, things that have been created in a lab, things, deep underground military bases, these hybrids, these chimeras that they did say they are indeed making, and also real entities that have always been here, these fallen ones. So there will indeed be real entities used in a false stage alien invasion. They're just not coming from the planet 33. And now he's pushing out the fact that this wow signal that happened back in 1977, where a lot of researchers believe that this could be extraterrestrial in origin, maybe coming from the Three-Eye Atlas. So we can see what's on here.
They realized that back on August 15th, 1977, there was a very famous flare in the radio signal that was given the name the wow signal because the observers that recorded it at the Ohio State University was stunned at how powerful this signal was. And I checked it. Turns out that it came from about the same direction in the sky as 3I Atlas, within 9 degrees. And the chance for a random alignment of the two directions of 9 degrees or so is 0.6%. And there was no report on radio observations of 3I Atlas so far. So I'm encouraging radio astronomers around the world to check out whether there is any radio transmission from 3I Atlas.
Then, suspiciously enough, after Avi Loeb says we need to check the 3I Atlas radio signals, now these videos are coming out that apparently they found radio pulses coming from 3I Atlas, yet the live feed, was shut down.
Okay, I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be posting this right now, but I just heard something, and it's not a theory anymore. They said it came from one of the deep space channels monitoring 3I Atlas, and what it transmitted, it wasn't background noise. They picked up an encoded pulse, repeating every 47 seconds, the same pattern used in low-frequency military orders. Then a secondary signal, like a reply, bounced back from our atmosphere. That's when one of the analysts said the word simulation. And then the feed just cut. Now, I don't know if this was stage faked or part of Project Bluebeam, but if it's real, that means something is already active. And here's the part that freaked me out. 3I Atlas hit solar perihelion this week, exactly the moment the pulse peaked. You can call it coincidence. I can't. I don't care if this video gets buried or flagged. Just remember this. When they tell you to look up, don't. Because the show in the sky might not be from above, it might be from here. They want us watching the sky, so we stop watching them. Stay alert, stay aware, in spite of the illusion, see through it.
This morning we have a report that the object got much brighter than expected, and moreover, the color of the object is bluer than the sun. And that's very surprising, because usually when there is dust around an object, it should make it red. I should also say that the news yesterday was that this object came closest to the sun, and it received a huge amount of heat from the sun. And the latest report indicates that it became extremely bright, much more than expected for familiar comets.
Right now, an object more than 5 trillion miles from Earth is moving through interstellar space at 93,000 miles per hour. And new data from China's large Sky Area Multi-Object Fiber spectroscopic telescope has revealed something no one expected. The readings suggest that 3I Atlas, once thought to be a harmless interstellar visitor, is emitting a spectral signature that defies every known model of cometary behavior. If the data holds true, it could force astronomers to rewrite our understanding of what drifts between the stars. At the edge of the solar system, more than 4 billion miles from the Sun, a faint glimmer of reflected light betrayed the presence of something unexpected. The object was small, less than a kilometer across, yet it cut through the darkness with a precision that defied the quiet chaos of the Kuiper Belt. Its designation would soon echo through the halls of observatories around the World 3I Atlas, the third known interstellar traveler to enter our cosmic neighborhood. At first, it was dismissed as routine, a frozen wanderer from another system, shaped by gravity and time. The first two interstellar objects, Oumuamua and Borisov, had already familiarized astronomers with the concept of cosmic visitors, relics of ancient planetary systems flung into the void. Yet as telescopes turned their mirrors toward 3I Atlas, something in its light began to whisper a different story. China's Large Sky Area Multi-Object Fiber Spectroscopic Telescope, known as LAMOST, collected its light for 72 continuous hours. The resulting data revealed a spectral curve unlike anything in the catalogue of known comets. Where typical interstellar bodies scatter sunlight, producing clear compositional signatures of water ice, silicates or hydrocarbons, 3I Atlas did something else entirely. It absorbed. Its reflectivity was abnormally low, a negative albedo shift so severe that at certain wavelengths it appeared to swallow light completely. To astrophysicists, this was an anomaly that resisted every model. No ordinary ice crust could create such absorption. No known dust mixture matched the reading. Even after atmospheric corrections and data reprocessing, the numbers held this object was darker than coal, yet emitted faint, structured bursts of infrared energy, as though something within was still radiating heat. Was it a product of cosmic radiation, the breakdown of exotic ices, or something that couldn't be explained through chemistry alone? Theorists proposed metallic grains aligned in microscopic order, perhaps nanostructures formed under conditions alien to our star's influence. Others quietly speculated it could be a fragment, an engineered remnant, scarred by aeons of interstellar drift. As more data came in, the trajectory of 3I Atlas began to tell another story. It wasn't moving randomly. Its vector, while consistent with gravitational pull, showed subtle corrections. Adjustments invisible at first glance, but statistically present in every observation. The object's momentum curve, though faint, hinted at stability, almost like something maintaining equilibrium. The international community hesitated. To call it artificial would be heresy to established science. To ignore the readings would be to deny what the instruments had seen. And so, in quiet laboratories and encrypted data channels, researchers began comparing notes, looking for a pattern that could reconcile physics with the impossible. Every measurement brought them closer to a realization too large to articulate. Perhaps not everything entering our solar system is a product of chance. Perhaps some things are sent. The night before the next round of observations, Lamost's array logged a faint secondary signal, a rhythm.
Everyone needs to get ready because we have very new information about Atlas 3I. Scientists were already perplexed when it was shooting a jet stream into our sun. After it went around the sun, they thought it was going to start leaving. They thought it was going to be going out of our solar system, not closer into Earth. Then a very interesting event happened that has scientists baffled. They cannot explain why. And hear me out. Because now the latest images and videos from these deep space telescopes show that Atlas 3I is brightening. It's literally getting brighter, which means there is a temperature increase or some kind of fusion that would make it produce more light than it already was. And the reason that is so interesting and peculiar is for other Oort cloud comets, they never just brighten up like that. Now keep in mind, this is one of only 3 interstellar comets that we've ever had on record. So this is a big deal. What does this brightness mean? Is it signaling to us? Everyone needs to get ready because we have very new information about Atlas 3I. Scientists were already perplexed when it was shooting a jet stream into our sun. After it went around the sun, they thought it was going to start leaving. They thought it was going to be going out of our solar system, not closer into Earth. Then a very interesting event happened that has scientists baffled. They cannot explain why. And hear me out. Because now the latest images and videos from these deep space telescopes show that Atlas 3I is brightening. It's literally getting brighter, which means there is a temperature increase or some kind of fusion that would make it produce more light than it already was. And the reason that is so interesting and peculiar is for other Oort cloud comets, they never just brighten up like that. Now keep in mind, this is one of only 3 interstellar comets that we've ever had on record. So this is a big deal. What does this brightness mean? Is it signaling to us?
Okay, I want to talk about 3I Atlas and it turning blue and why that is potentially a big deal. Disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes, and I am not anything. I'm not a scientist. I'm not anything, but this is for funsy and conspiracy theorists only. Okay, so recently astronomers and scientists have came out and say that 3I Atlas has turned a striking blue color, which is abnormal for a comet. It is rare, okay, which is fun in itself. Rare things are fun, right? Okay, but why this is insane for someone like me, I've been studying something called their cycles, and I'm not going to say the name. If you want to know more, go to my page. I've made multiple videos about this, and they seem to not do so well, so I'm not going to say the name because I don't want this video to get hidden. but it's these cycles, right? And in this book, highly recommend this book. There is a passage in it that I want to share with you guys. It's a really quick one. It is about the Hopi people's legends about the blue star Kachina. And so, quick rundown of the legend. This is going to be a very quick synapse. If you want more information, go do your own research on this. I know there's videos on TikTok because I've seen them. But basically, the Hopi people legend states that we are living in the fourth world. There has been 3 prior worlds. Each of them had success and falls, and then beginnings of the new world. So we are in the fourth world and have been for quite some time, according to this prophecy, this legend from these Hopi people, these tribes. So basically, in the fourth world, we know that the fourth world is coming to an end when these 9 signs come to fruition, come to life. So all of the signs have become actualized except for the last and final sign of the end of the fourth world. The last and final sign: you will hear of a dwelling house in our heavens above the earth that shall fall with a great crash. It will appear as a blue star. Very soon after this, the ceremonies of my people will cease. That is the prophecy of the Hopi people, of the blue Kachina star. And now the 3-eye atlas is now turned this blue striking color. That's crazy. That is insane. The correlations are insane. And what's crazy is I've been making videos saying that 3-eye atlas aligns perfectly with the YCs, the cycles. It aligns perfectly, as does the astrology, and same thing with this Hopi legend and many other legends, which this book talks about if you're interested. Let me know what you guys think. Regardless, I think 3-eye atlas is exciting, regardless if it's a comet or a spaceship or anything else. I think it's exciting, and I'm having a lot of fun watching it and talking about it and hypothesizing about it. Let me know what you guys think.
Y'all, when you listen to these people, always use your own discernment, because they're going to say a lot of things that actually is not factual at all. It couldn't possibly be, because they've never encountered anything like this before. So when they talk, because these folks tend to talk with a certainty, and there's no way they're getting all this information. The government is shut down. Even China has switched off their cameras. So whatever it is, it's scaring people enough where they don't even want to look at it. So that's pretty frightening. So everybody, let me do my thank yous. Thank you, Eagle Champ, once again for your super sticker and support for my channel. And Jeffrey Mentor, thank you for your super chat. Their amazement at this spectacle will soon turn to fear because of what they did to the Most High's apple of his eye. You ain't never lie. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And thank you for your support for my channel. So, y'all, I'm going to conclude. This is going to be my final one. I did have another one, but my throat is sore. So I'm going to rest my throat, and I'll be back tomorrow with more live streams and videos. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening and night. Shalom, family.